In the recreational drug scene, fiend-based offenses are considered especially heinous. From snorting grandma's ashes because you're a broke cokehead degenerate to month-long Xan and alcohol-induced benders, these are their stories. What is up, my fellow degenerates out in YouTube land? How's your morning going? Afternoon, evening, nighttime? It is the homie Blurred Vision, and today we're bringing you a banger of a story called Doing Robo and Playing CSGO. And for those of you who have done Robo, you know it is not the greatest idea to try to play a competitive game while doing Robo. You know, because with DXM, you really want to be pretty immobile. Lying in bed, sitting in a chair, something like that. Not actively trying to beat or compete with other players, as, you know, your reflexes are a little dampened. They're not exactly at the same level as, you know, a degenerate who has just snorted a line of G Fuel or something like that. It's about in the same ballpark as your drunk dad who's yelling at the player who's up to bat, saying he could hit the ball better than him. Well, just imagine I'm your dad, but the baseball player is actually like, yeah, here, come sub in for me. Now, before I jump into the actual match where I had already taken the DXM, I want to go a little prior to that to where we were grabbing the DXM from a convenience store. Now, this is the normal place that me and Coles normally copped from, and Coles is only in it in the beginning part. There's a different friend that I actually play the match with. Cole's just who I would usually cop stuff with. Also, Coles, that is spelled C-O-L-E-S. I know, it's a weird name. It's just like a nickname. Don't ask me why. Anyway, this was a bright summer day. No school, obviously. You know, we just got on summer break. And I wanted to do something kind of different. You see, I had been reading a little bit on Eurowid about DXM. And, well, wouldn't you know, DXM happens to be in everybody's favorite cough and cold medicine, Robitussin. So I tell Coles, hey, there's this thing called DXM, and I tell him a little bit about it, how it apparently feels a little like you're drunk, and how you walk like a robot, and that there's different plateaus or effects the higher up in dosage you go. And Coles, he says that sounds pretty cool. He said, yeah, I'll help you look for it. And but he didn't really want to do any at this point in time. A little later, he does do it a little bit with me and a different friend. But at this point, he was really not willing to take it. Mainly because he didn't really know much about it. I had just told him recently about the drug. But anyway, we go rummaging through this store, you know. We're looking through the snack aisle, looking at liquor, all that stuff. You know, this is the normal place we cop stuff from. So we end up going into the medicine aisle, and we look around at the different Robitussins. You know, they have different kinds. They have the daytime, nighttime, DM, extra strength, nighttime, and whatnot. And I actually ended up choosing the wrong one. I chose one that had doxylamine in it, as well as DXM. And for whatever reason, you know, I thought, oh, it doesn't have acetaminophen. It doesn't have the guafessin or whatever that one's called in it. So I thought I was safe, but no, I was stupid and I got one with doxylamine in it. And doxylamine is similar to Benadryl. It's a anticholinergic drug that can induce kind of delusions. So it's not something you want to have in your DXM syrup if you're going to be tripping on it. But I was a stupid 17-year-old kid, and I thought, oh, everyone just says look out for acetaminophen or the I call it guafessin. I don't know how to pronounce that one. But I was like, oh, it doesn't have those two in it, so it must be okay, right? Wrong. It's only supposed to have DXM in it. That is the only thing it should have in it. I know that now, and I knew that right after I took this. You'll come to see. It didn't turn out too well for me. But anyway, I was like, yo, I found the right one. even though it was the wrong one. And I shoved that shit under my shirt, in my waistband. And we go perusing around the store. I think we probably got a few Slim Jims or something as well. And then we booked it out of the store, all slow like we normally do. We didn't get caught. We didn't steal any liquor this time, just the DXM. And we go out to his car, and he's like, "Hey man, are you gonna take it now?" And I told him, "No, I was probably gonna wait until tonight." I didn't really want to tweak out in front of my parents, so I opted to do it that night. Well, while I was playing CSGO with my other friend who's named Kevin. So me and Kevin, we play a little bit of CSGO, probably from like 7 until, I don't know, probably around 10:30. And around then I tell Kevin, "Hey man, I'm going to go try out this thing called DXM because I wanted him to know I was probably going to be a little trash at CSGO after I took this stuff." And this is fucking funny, I was 17 years old, I was new to drugs, and I'm like, dude, I'm gonna pour this shit up like it's fucking lean. Like, who does that with DXM, bro? Like, just, that's doing way too much. Do not mix that shit. Like, I mixed it with Sprite, Jolly Ranchers, everything. I double cupped it with a plastic cup. Like, I was doing the most, and anyone who's done something similar before with a DXM syrup, like pouring it into Sprite or 7 Up, it just extends the flavor, and the flavor's not good. It's like an artificial cherry or berry, whatever it happens to be in, usually some fruity flavor, and it doesn't taste good. And instead of it just being like the bottle you would normally drink, that, it's like a couple shots worth or something of it, like 200 milliliters max. Well, now you just extended it to a whole bottle or a whole cup of Sprite, and it's that same taste. It doesn't dilute it. It tastes just as strong as if you were to drink it straight out of the bottle. It just, you've basically just made the experience worse for yourself than it had to be. So I make my mixture and I bring it back up to my room, and I sit down and start to drink it and play CSGO at the same time. And the taste was pretty awful. The Sprite, like, it made it worse somehow. So if you're going to do it, one, make sure it's only DXM in your syrup and literally nothing else. And two, don't mix that shit with anything. Learn from my mistakes, boys. So I'm slowly drinking it during the match, and I'm doing okay. I'm fragging here and there. I'm probably not at the top of the team, but I'm not at the bottom either. But as it goes on, I'm getting like kind of tired and also very, very nauseous. And towards the end of it, like, all the syrup had pooled at the bottom, where all the ice is and shit. You can see why it's a bad way to ingest this stuff. So once I finally finish, I just set the cup over to the side and keep playing for a little bit. But the longer I play, the more and more nauseous I become. And this is a big thing with DXM. It makes you nauseous as hell. Even if it doesn't have the side ingredients in it, even if it's just pure DXM. DXM in itself is just nausea inducing. So I start to kind of dry heave, and eventually it gets to a point where I throw up in my mouth a little bit, and I have to leave mid-round to go throw up in my toilet, and it's blood red, right? Just imagine you're starting to trip out, and you throw up red because the syrup was red. And not only that, but it wasn't even purely DXM that I was tripping on. I was tripping on doxylamine as well, which is, again, in the same class as Benadryl. It's anticholinergic, I think an antihistamine. It's supposed to be a sleep aid, and if you take a big enough dose of it, it actually makes you delirious. So after I get out of the bathroom, I clean myself up, basically. I didn't really get it on me at all. It just all got on the toilet, and I saw a bunch of red. I kind of remember thinking, is that blood or not? But I didn't think too much of it at the time. I just kind of washed, my mouth off a little bit and got back to the match. I didn't get to finish the match. I told Kevin that, I wasn't feeling good. and that I was probably gonna have to leave mid-game. He said, "That's all right," and I I don't even think I shut off the computer. I think I just left the game running and climbed into my bed. And I only remember having like very vivid dreams, but I very well could have just gone into a completely delirious state. Or it could have just been my dreams. I don't know. I remember passing out, but who knows if that's just how my memory worked at the time. I didn't stay up to experience the trip at all, but I had some really crazy, vivid, weird dreams. Um, and when I woke up the next morning, I didn't really know what the fuck happened. I was like completely mind blown by the vividness of the dream. And it wasn't really vivid in the sense that it like looked or felt like real life. It was very geometric and abstract. It it kind of felt like V clipping through a black tunnel, and sort of off to the sides of the tunnel, it would be like geometric patterns, um, or not really like patterns, but like shapes. Like there would be squares or a pentagon or octagon or whatever, but they weren't like very clear. It was kind of blurry, but also vivid. It's a little hard to describe. My other DXM experiences don't really go into that aspect of it because I'm more moving around in those, even though it's very hard to move on DXM. I actually enjoyed moving around in my later trips. But yeah, that's about it for this story. There wasn't really much else that happened. I kind of just woke up from uh, going to sleep after that CSGO match, and I was like, "Oh, that was crazy what I just experienced." But I didn't really have time or the brain capacity at that time to evaluate what just happened. I kind of just went on with my day and was like, "Oh, that was a cool experience. I might try that again." But anyway, yeah, guys, it's been your boy Blurred Vision, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.